Number 8. Outlaws family. In the countryside of southern Turkey, you may see a group of people moving around in a unique and fascinating way. These are members of a family called Outlaws, made up of 19 members, and they crawl on their palms and feet wherever they go. This type of crawling, which currently affects 5 of them, and mainly females, has never been seen before, so as you can imagine, the gang are a source of great interest to scientists. They are sometimes compared gait-wise to apes, who also, quote, walk on all fours, but that's not correct. Difference is, the Outlaws don't walk on their knuckles. It's believed they evolved their movements like this because of an inability to balance on 2 feet. Whereas toddlers crawl when they walk upright, the Outlaws family may have just kept on doing the former. Collectively, they have what's known as NPCA, non-progressive congenital ataxia. That's a little complicated to sum up here, but ataxia represents various disorders relating to factors such as balance and speech. While they do suffer from some brain-related issues, one thing they can do is coordinate. Apparently, the sisters are dab hands with a needle. Easy to forget, however, that this is a family, and go about their business much like any other. From crawling on the ground to pumping iron, our next family packs more muscle than your local butcher shop. Number 7. Family of Bodybuilders. You know how some parents will ask children to drink their milk so they'll grow up big and strong? This clan takes that idea to extremes. Meet the Best family, headed up by Dad Nick and Mom Callie. Such is their combined strength, some reports have branded them as a living version of the Incredibles. While it's generally advised not to give children eye-wateringly heavy weights to lift, Nick and Callie chose to ignore those experts and train their kids Dylan and Jessica early. The family received major media coverage back in 2013. At the time, Dylan was 11 and, by all accounts, putting young people half his age to shame. Instead of pulling the covers over his head in the morning, he'd go and tackle over 150 pounds or 68 kilograms in the family gym. Meanwhile, Jessica took things a little easier at the age of 5. Not that much easier, however. She could routinely lift 100 pounds or 45 kilograms, in other words, twice her own weight. The family that plays together stays together, and you certainly couldn't accuse this bunch of living separate lives. A jaw-dropping 240 hours was spent pumping iron and building those muscles. With all that weightlifting and bench pressing, some extra digits might come in handy, which brings us to our next entry. Number 6. The Silvas. Giving someone the finger is one of the world's most recognizable gestures, but you'd no doubt remember it from one of the Silva clan from Brazil. For the past few generations, this fantastic family has been showing signs of the genetic condition polydactyly. You'll notice they have an additional digit on their hands and feet. The De Silvas regard these extra fingers and toes as a strength, and who could disagree with them? Because of their enhanced physical appearance, they can do stuff like hold a football better, play the piano easier, and take part in the ultimate game of pull my finger. Well, maybe they don't do that last one, but all those digits make you think, right? By supporting Brazil's team during the 2014 World Cup and putting themselves out there, the De Silvas grabbed the planet's attention. They aren't unique, but having 6 fingers and toes in great condition is certainly rare. According to Ranker, polydactyly will affect 1 in 500 of the population, so it's still pretty distinctive. Not all family members keep their spare fingers and toes. For example, going out in high heels can be somewhat difficult with the extra passenger down there. Surgery is an option, but on the whole, the De Silvas love having these incredible looking hands and feet. With added fingers and toes to help them with sports and everything else, the De Silvas are unlikely to make a boob. You couldn't say that about our next family unit. Not at all. But before we get to the next family, I just want to say thanks for checking out the channel. If you're liking this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Number 5. The Marshalls. Chantal Marshall from the UK has an offbeat family activity which she shares with 4 of her 9 children. Between them, they've taken a trip to their local plastic surgeon for no less than 9 boob jobs, as per a report from the Mirror in 2009. You'll be amazed to hear we're sure that this set a British record for, well, how can we put this politely, taking care of business upstairs? It all started for Chantal when she decided to make herself feel confident by having breast surgery. After giving birth multiple times, she just needed a bit of a lift. You know what we mean? Things didn't go to her liking at first, and she figured that was that. However, her daughter Emma wanted to have a boob job, and on seeing the result, Mom was inspired to go for an enlargement procedure. Other daughters Ripley, Tara, and Terry have followed suit. Size-wise, the quote smallest is 34 double D, and the biggest 32 double G. The mirror reveals that 2 of the girls even went to have their surgery done at the same place on the same day. The Marshalls call their home Silicon City. No prizes for guessing why, and we ain't talking microchips here. How much have Chantal and her daughters spent on surgery? 40,000 pounds, or around $56,000. That is unbelievable. See what we did there? Sometimes the puns just write themselves. This clan definitely gets tongues wagging, and over in the USA, our next family are more than capable of wagging their tongues. In fact, you can see them doing it from a mile off. Number 4. The Schlenkers. Back in 2015, news reporters were far from tongue-tied over the story of middle-aged New Yorker Byron Schlenker and his teenage daughter Emily. One day, Emily was doing a class project, and Byron agreed to pick up some reading material for her. Leafing through the Guinness Book of World Records, Byron noticed the entry for World's Widest Tongue. That can't be right, he probably thought. I mean, my tongue's wider than that. And he wasn't kidding. Byron and Emily have much wider tongues than your typical mouth. He got out the measuring tape and realized they had the current male and female title holders beat. So what are the stats? Byron's tongue measures 3.3 inches, about 8.6 centimeters across, whereas Emily's is a mere 2.8 inches, 7.3 centimeters. What do you do with the planet's widest tongue? Well, it could come in handy for licking the world's biggest lollipop. We're wondering if Byron can roll that thing. Can you imagine? It'd be like a carpet sticking out at you. What goes up must come down, and Byron learned that the hard way when his record was broken in 2018 by a Brian Thompson from California. His organ is a stamp-moistening 3.4 inches, or about 8.88 centimeters. Emily still holds her title, however. Chin up, Byron, or indeed, tongue up. They say families are bonded by blood, but this next pair is way out there when it comes to the concept of blood relatives. Grab hold of your garlic and crucifixes. It's time to meet number 3, Leah Benninghoff and Arrow Draven. This couple have more than an age gap to make them stand out from the crowd. Leah Benninghoff was 20 years old when she met Arrow Draven, who was nearly 2 decades older than her. The pair encountered one another on Valentine's Day through a website for singles. Both embraced the goth image, but things went way beyond black hair, piercings, and the worshipping of dark forces. The more experienced of the couple, namely Arrow, invited his companion to take a taste of his blood. Yes, that's right, Leah and Arrow keep love alive by bleeding, then feeding themselves. According to reports from 2013, this happened on a weekly basis. Why did they do it? It appears that drinking blood is a great way of feeling close to someone. We'd prefer a bunch of roses and a quiet night in, but hey, it takes all sorts to make the world go round, right? In line with the lore of the vampires, Leah referred to the process of drinking Arrow's blood for the first time as a turning. Gotta be honest, there's only one thing this story is turning, and that's our stomachs. Not that we have anything personal against Leah and Arrow, they're probably a nice couple and a stable family unit. However, opening a vein isn't our idea of a good time. Sorry guys. That couple took their relationship to the next level and beyond. But you don't need to be a creature of the night to push boundaries. Our next family wound up becoming a gang of very human outlaws. Keep watching to find out how it happened. Number 2. Gray's Outlaws. When John Joe Gray was stopped by a Texas trooper in December 1999, the law enforcer got more than he bargained for. Gray was exceeding the speed limit, but he also packed some serious firepower in his vehicle. Even more alarmingly, there was reportedly evidence of a plan to place explosives on state roads. When police tried to arrest him, a confrontation happened which led to his arrest. Gray was facing 2 counts of assaulting a trooper and grabbing a police weapon. The following year, he was out on bail when he decided to escape from justice. Where did he go? To another state? Another country? No way! John Joe stayed in Texas and went home to a 19-acre ranch, taking his wife Alicia and their approximately 12-strong family with him. Here, they were totally self-sufficient, catching their own meals and relying on games, radio, and prayer to keep themselves occupied. This homestead, in the vicinity of Trinidad City, sounds like it has a distinct lack of home comforts. The Grays got by without electricity or even running water. Authorities weren't keen to follow them in due to the bloodbath that might well ensue. This clan is armed and, by the sounds of it, extremely dangerous. The charges were eventually dismissed, but in 2014, so well over a decade had been spent holding out. It appears the Greys are also still out there. There's a family getaway, and then there's this. Pretty hardcore. Our final entry takes the crown when it comes to sheer volume of family members. Wait till you meet this impressive Indian family and its head. Number 1. Ziona Chana. Now, this section also takes the form of a tribute, because at the time of writing, the sad news has reached us that Ziona Chana passed away at the age of 76. According to India Today, he died in the capital of Aswal, Mizoram, at a private hospital. Poor health is reportedly the cause. Were his family by his side? Well, surely not all of them. You see, Ziona Chana had tied the knot no less than 39 times, as written about by the Daily Mail back in 2011. India Today notes he leaves behind 38 wives. Having so many significant others naturally leads to an awesome number of children and grandchildren. He had 94 children and 33 grandchildren. Again, those figures were mentioned in 2011. Today, the number of children is 89. Amazingly, the family all lived together in the one house. And what a house! Located in the village of Baktong in the mountains, New Generation Home, or Chuanthar Run, comprises 100 plus rooms across 4 stories. That's right, Mr. Chana had some money in the bank. Not that it sounds like a picnic for the wives. The Mail noted how they had to sleep in the same quarters or large communal dorms. As you can imagine, dinner time is an epic undertaking at the home of Chana. 30 chickens apparently go towards what's on the table, accompanied by an eye-widening 220 pounds or almost 100 kilograms worth of rice. How come this guy was married to so many women? The answer to that lies in the sect he runs. Just so happens that monogamy is not on the list of priorities. The setup sounds a little like an Eastern spin on Hugh Hefner, but whereas the latter was known for sleeping with many women at a time, Ziona Chana slept in his own private bed. The Mail wrote that the younger the wife is, the closer she sleeps to her husband's room. Everyone appeared happy with the arrangement, but it does look a tad unusual, don't you think? He also wanted to boost the numbers, though this fact was reported like a decade ago. Whether he would have felt like that during his final years isn't known. Such an astonishing family feat made headlines for years. In fact, the area became a tourist attraction off the back of all of the publicity. Ziona Chana's legacy is assured. Thanks for watching. Are there any unusual families you think should have been on this list? Let us know in the comments. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time on the Bored Badger.